Welcome to Morston Hall Kitchen. Lockdown number 3. Struggling for things to do. I want to show you this dish. This is potentially one of my favourite dishes that we do in the Morston kitchen. It is a trip to Morston Quay, and it involves everything that you might find if you were to walk from around the coast and go down to Morston Quay. So we have winkles, mussels, clams, brown shrimps, cockles, crab, and I'm going to put them into a dish with a little bit of pasta, make my own pasta, and I'm also going to show you a bit of Morston mud. So to get to any of these ingredients you probably have to go through some mud, and the mud is made with mushrooms. So here we go. Into a pan, bit of butter, nice and hot, maybe not that hot, a bit of butter into a pan, shallots, fry them off, stir. The reason why I really like this dish, because as the year goes up by, you can add all sorts of different ingredients to it. So you can add sampa, or as my mate would say, samphire, but sampa. You could add, there's so many different things that come into it. Mackerel will come in as the summer comes along. Mushrooms going into here. So, a bit of seasoning. I always use Morston sea salt, it's my favourite. And let these sweat off until the mushrooms are soft. Once the mushrooms are soft, I'm going to add a splash of water, not too much because I want to make a puree, quite a thick puree, and that's going to be the Morston mud. So, just keep an eye on your mushrooms, you don't want them to catch, and then I'm going to go on to making some pasta. I quite like making pasta, and my pasta mix is quite a simple one, but it's quite vibrant. So you take 250 grams of 00 flour, pasta flour, into a blender or a food processor. Then a good pinch of salt, fine salt for this. And then what I do is I have 9 egg yolks, and I start adding them. Almost on a pulse basis. Okay. My egg yolks, start adding. Not all at once. Like so. So there's the 9 egg yolks. Then what I'm doing with it, I've got this. And this is parsley oil from the garden. Just going to add some of that. Why? Because I want to. Pasta is done, and take it off the machine. Have a quick look at my mushroom puree. And I'm going to add a splash of water to this. As I say, I don't want too much because I want it to be quite thick, so it looks like mud. That's the idea. Okay, right, back onto the pasta. Onto a board. That's alright. And then ideally you want to rest this pasta in the fridge for a bit. Okay. You don't have to use parsley oil or whatever if you don't want to make it green, you don't make it green. That's just me. But and now bring it together. So, make it into 2 balls, and then I'm going to refrigerate it whilst I go on to the rest of the bits and pieces. The mushrooms, I don't know if you can see, are nice and soft now, not too wet. I'm going to add a splash of cream to it, not a lot. And then I'm going to blitz it in this machine. So all that's in there is butter, mushrooms, shallots, touch of cream and salt. And machine on. Okay, this has had a few minutes of blitzing. Right, wait this open. Yeah, that's cool. It's a bit like mud. The idea of it, Morston mud. Okay. Now, if I was doing this at home, I wouldn't bother sieving it. And that's a big question. Do I sieve it or don't I? No, this is just for the benefit of you guys. So I don't need to sieve it. This, I don't think I need to just taste it. That's cool, that's really nice. Right, there's the Morston mud. So I've got the green pasta, which is in the freezer. That's not in the freezer. I've got the green pasta, which is in the fridge. I've got my Morston mud, now to deal with all the mussels and cockles and winkles and everything. So, over here. What I've done with these are literally just debearded. I haven't bothered taking the barnacles off or anything like that. But these are right in season now, and that's the beauty of a lot of the cooking that I do. Is I use very seasonal ingredients all the time. It just makes sense to me. And this time of year is perfect for mussels. And the best way, in my opinion, everybody will have their own opinions on how to cook these, but for me, the best way of cooking anything like this is the steamer. If you've got a steamer or you're in your oven, then I think that's the best way of cooking them. I saw this method of cooking once in a three-star restaurant in France, and they steamed their mussels, and then the chefs all grabbed hold of them at the end of it, and it was just, because you're not adding anything to them, you're just getting that flavour of the mussels. So that's why I like it. So into an oven, 100 degrees to steam. It'll take about 5 minutes. And obviously same method in the fact that as soon as they open, they're cooked. So 5 minutes from now. 5 minutes. Let's have a look. Clams. Beautiful. All opened up. Mussels. Look at this. All opened up. All the liquid that's come out of the mussels is obviously from the mussels. So it's pretty unadulterated. Winkles. Lovely little winkles. Then it's a matter, well, what I do want to do is to keep all the cooking liquor. So all the liquor from the mussels and the clams, I put through muslin into a pan, because that's going to form the basis of the sauce. You see a method in my madness now. Look at all that coming out of there. You do need to put it through muslin. There's a lot of grit still coming out. Same with the clams. Now, just the arduous task of taking them all out of the shell now. So I use this to get the winkles out, and that's a fiddly job. Used to say use a hat pin, but they're worth it. It's a great flavour. Also, what you do need to do is make sure that little bit comes off, because that's at the end of the winkle. need to make sure that's so this might take me a bit of time to do these. Okay, little winkles, all out of the shell. Labour intensive job, but worth it. Lovely mussels, Blackiston mussels, clams, cockles, brown shrimps, crab, all going in this dish. My sauce, the basis of it is this, which is literally the liquor which the mussels and cockles exuded when they were cooked. So I'll put that onto a heat and I'll start reducing it a little bit. And all I'm literally going to add to that, a touch of lemon juice, a little bit of cream, some butter, and that's it. The seasoning, I don't think you'll need to because of the saltiness of the mussels and clams in any case, so you won't need to. Now, I want to talk about this. So this pasta has been in the fridge for over an hour. It's quite wet because of the amount of oil I put in the pasta oil. So I now take it to my machine and get it going through the pasta machine. Set it through on the widest setting to begin with, and we set it through a few times. Now I'm going to start bringing it in. I don't want to take this pasta to the finest setting. I want it to have a little bit of texture to it. Keep running this through. And I want to take it so I can just sort of see my hands through it, but not too thin. So it's like that. And let that dry out. So that's going to form the basis of the pasta. That's my pasta. Now, quickly over onto the sauce. So, the best thing to do with a sauce is to keep tasting it. Continually keep tasting it. Oh, that's lovely. Very muscly. Lovely. Cream. Swirl out. Okay. So add a bit of butter. The sauce. Whisk. And I'm going to chop a load of chives. And you always add the chives at the very end, so you don't lose the vibrancy of colour and flavour. It's just a very simple sauce. Lemon juice goes in at the end, just to liven it up. You could add champagne to it if you wanted to give it, make it into a champagne sauce. But essentially it's just a stock which has come out from the mussels, the juice that's come out from the mussels. So that's perfectly fine. Turn that off. And then we're almost ready to put the whole dish together. Okay, just grab my pasta, a quick method. Let's get it going through and make. Just like that. Cool. Okay, then that's already some simmering water with a bit of salt in it. We're going to drop that in, bring the whole dish together. Get ready. Water onto a hob. A bit of salt in there, quite a bit of salt. Bring it up to a simmer. And then pasta goes in. Won't take long to cook this pasta, literally a minute. Okay, the sauces are now coming back up to heat. What I'm going to do is chop some chives very quickly. Get the chives get added at the last minute. Okay, to the sauce. In a small pan. Pasta's ready. Just drain it. Wash it. Keep that. A little knob of butter. Right, quickly over here, mussels into the pan. Winkles into the pan. Clams. Cockles. All into the pan. Brown shrimps. These brown shrimps are King's Lynn brown shrimps, and in my opinion, they're the best. There we are. Take a bit of the sauce, warm them all up in a bit of the sauce. So you have a sort of like a melange of all that. Get your plate ready. Don't forget my crab. Chroma crab. Okay. Everything warming up. My puree is warming up. Lovely. So on the bottom of the plate is the Morston mud. Okay. Next, a bit of the seaweed. Like so. And everything that theoretically you could well find down on Morston Quay. I'm going to taste it. It's so good. Okay. Everything over. It's lovely. Pasta. And then finally, a bit of the sauce. Don't forget I'm adding the chives at the very last minute. Give it a quick swirl around. And there is my take on oh, forgot the crab. Can't forget the crab. Just let it fall. There you go. A trip to Morston Quay. I quite like that. That's going to eat really nicely. I've got to try it. Bring it back here, I've got to try this. You've got the mud. No, it's so good. So good. There we go.